Hey guys, welcome back to Pacific Steel. Today I've got a story about a warship that I honestly believe marks a definitive turning point in 21st century naval warfare. And I don't say that lightly. We are witnessing a shift in doctrine that might be as significant as the transition from battleships to aircraft carriers in World War II. Imagine this for a second. You're a government that's poured a massive budget, years of planning, and billions of taxpayer dollars into building an aircraft carrier. It's meant to be a high-tech floating fortress, a symbol of national pride and the centerpiece of your naval dominance. But then, out of nowhere, the geopolitical floor falls out from under you. Your biggest allies cut you off. You're banned from buying the very fighter jets that were designed to land on that specific deck. What do? Do you scrap the project? Do you turn it into a glorified helicopter carrier? Billions of dollars are on the line, and your massive warship is about to become nothing more than a floating barge, a steel island with no birds to fly from it. But that's not what happened with the Turkish Navy. Instead of giving up or letting the ship gather dust, they flipped the script in a way no one expected. They took that crisis and turned it into a gamble the world had never seen before, converting a traditional aircraft carrier into a hive for unmanned killer swarms. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the TCG Anadolu. This isn't just an amphibious assault ship, it's being hailed as the world's first drone carrier. The backstory here is more dramatic than a Hollywood movie involving international sanctions and high-stakes diplomacy, and the tech inside is so impressive that militaries around the globe, from Brazil to Japan, are scrambling to take notes. Let's get into it. The story starts with Turkey's ambition to become a dominant regional power. For decades, the Turkish Navy has operated in the shadow of larger NATO fleets, but under the Blue Homeland Mavi Vatan doctrine, they wanted to project power far beyond their coastlines. They wanted a massive capital ship to patrol the Mediterranean, the Aegean, and the Black Sea, waters that are historically full of tension and energy disputes. This project was born as the TCG Anadolu, named after Anatolia, the heartland of the country. The initial design was strictly conventional. It was intended to be a light aircraft carrier capable of hosting next-gen fighters like the F-35B Lightning II. For those who don't know, the B variant is the STOVL version, short takeoff and vertical landing. It's a mechanical marvel that acts like a supersonic jet but lands vertically like a helicopter. This was the gold standard that many NATO allies were planning for this class of ship. The plan was simple: build the ship, buy the American jets, and join the elite club of carrier-operating nations. Everything seemed to be going according to plan. The structure was built to accommodate these lightning birds, the runway was reinforced for their exhaust heat, and the hangars were prepped. But then, a major plot twist hit in 2019. Turkey decided to purchase the S-400 air defense system from Russia. This was a geopolitical earthquake. The US and NATO saw this as a massive security breach, fearing the Russian system could gather data on the F-35's stealth capabilities. The response was swift and brutal. Turkey was officially kicked out of the F-35 program. Pilots were sent home, and the delivery of their jets was immediately halted. In that instant, the TCG Anadolu, still under construction, turned into a toothless giant. An aircraft carrier without aircraft is basically just a massive floating target. It was a PR nightmare and a strategic disaster. Many military analysts at the time predicted the project was dead in the water, or at best it would end up as a standard amphibious ship carrying only anti-submarine helicopters. Useful, sure, but definitely not a game changer. But in that darkness, a light appeared from Turkey's own defense industry. Selçuk Bayraktar, the CTO of Baykar and essentially the godfather of modern drone warfare, pitched a crazy but brilliant idea. Baykar had already made headlines in conflicts like Nagorno-Karabakh, Libya, and later Ukraine, proving that cheap, reliable drones could destroy expensive Russian armor. He asked, if we can't have manned jets, why don't we fill the deck with drones? And that, my friends, was the moment the TCG Anadolu was rebooted. It wasn't just a pivot, it was a revolution. From a failed aircraft carrier, it transformed into the world's first drone carrier, aiming to do something no Navy had ever successfully done before. Before we look at its new claws, I want you to understand the basic DNA of this ship so you can see exactly how Turkey modified it. The TCG Anadolu wasn't designed from scratch. It actually has a sibling on the other side of the world. The design is based on the Juan Carlos First Class from Navantia in Spain. It's a very popular design globally because it's a Swiss Army knife of warships. It's a multi-purpose hybrid. It serves as both amphibious assault ship, LHD, with a well deck at the stern to launch landing craft, and a small aircraft carrier with a flight deck. If you recall Australia's HMAS Canberra, that's essentially the twin sister of the TCG Anadolu. But what makes the Turkish ship completely different from its siblings isn't the exterior. On the outside, they look nearly identical. They both have that signature 12-degree ski jump ramp at the bow, originally meant to help heavy fighter jets get airborne. But the guts and the mission profile are in a league of their own. While the Spanish and Australian ships focus on amphibious landings and helicopter ops, the TCG Anadolu was retrofitted with an entirely new combat management system designed to control unmanned combat aerial vehicles, UCAVs. This isn't just about parking drones on a deck, it's about integrating them into the ship's nervous system. This meant Turkey had to install more powerful satellite communication, SATCOM systems, to control drones over long distances, far beyond the line of sight. They had to rethink the deck operations entirely. Manned jets have pilots who can react to a pitching deck. Drones need precise automated guidance. The biggest engineering challenge? Landing. F-35s use vertical thrust. Older jets use arresting wires, but drones are lighter and have different physics. Turkey had to develop a unique system, essentially a high-tech net or specialized arresting gear, to catch these drones safely without damaging them. It's a massive engineering hurdle, because landing a lightweight drone on a pitching deck in the middle of a rough ocean autonomously is incredibly difficult. Now, let's look at the star of the show. If the ship is the hive, what's inside? The first one we have to talk about is the Bayraktar TB3. Don't confuse this with the TB2 that's famous from recent news. The TB3 is an upgraded beast built specifically for the TCG Anadolu. Its key feature is foldable wings. It sounds simple, but it's crucial. Deck space is premium real estate on a carrier. Foldable wings mean the ship can pack a large number of TB3s into the hangar below deck. Estimates range from 30 to 50 units depending on the configuration. The TB3 isn't just about folding wings. It has a stronger engine, the domestic PD-170, which gives it better high-altitude performance. It has reinforced landing gear to handle hard carrier landings. And the coolest part, it can take off from the ship's very short runway on its own power without needing a steam catapult or electromagnetic launch system. It just uses the ski jump and its own thrust. Plus, it has an endurance of over 24 hours. This gives the TCG Anadolu persistent eyes in the sky, a constant surveillance capability that manned jets, which need to refuel every few hours, simply can't match. But if you think the TB3 is too slow because it's a prop plane, Turkey has an ace up its sleeve, the Bayraktar Kizilelma, the Red Apple. This is the holy grail of drone warfare. It is a supersonic, stealthy, jet-powered drone. The Kizilelma is designed to be a loyal wingman, fighting alongside manned jets or operating in wolf packs. It's highly agile, packs an AESA radar, and carries air-to-air missiles. While the TB3 handles ground strikes and recon, the Kizilelma is there to contest the airspace. Imagine future combat scenarios. One ship launches a swarm of TB3s for intelligence, surveillance, and recon, saturating the enemy's radar. Then it catapults the supersonic Kizilelma to intercept aerial threats or strike high-value targets. All of this is controlled from a command center on the ship, without risking a single pilot's life. This introduces the concept of swarm tactics to naval warfare. A traditional carrier has 20 to 30 expensive jets. If you shoot one down, it's a national tragedy and a massive loss of capability. But with drones, you can risk them. You can send 10 drones to attack a destroyer. Even if the enemy shoots down 8, the last 2 might get through and sink the ship. It changes the math of war from quality versus quality to quantity with quality. We've heard the story and the strategy, now let's look at the hard numbers. How big is this beast of the Aegean Sea, and how much did it cost? I've summarized the specs right here. Okay, let's break down the specs. First off, size. This giant has a full load displacement of over 27,000 tons. It's 231 meters long. To put that in perspective, that's longer than 2 American football fields laid end to end. It tops out at 21 knots, which is plenty agile for a ship this size, allowing it to keep pace with a frigate flotilla. Now, let's talk payload. Inside the belly of the beast, it can house over 1,300 personnel, including crew and a full battalion of Marines. The vehicle deck can carry over 100 combat vehicles, including main battle tanks and armored personnel carriers. This means the Anadolu isn't just an airstrip, it's an invasion force. It can project power onto land, launch amphibious assaults, and provide air cover simultaneously. But the highlight is the air wing. According to the specs, it can support a mix of 30 to 50 TB3 drones, Kizilelma jets, and helicopters. That is a significant amount of firepower for local air dominance. And because drones are smaller than F-35s, you can fit more of them, creating a denser air wing. And the final line is the most shocking: the price. The project cost is estimated between 1.0 to 1.2 billion US dollars. From these numbers, the key takeaway is cost effectiveness. For around $1 billion, Turkey gets a flagship, a command center, an amphibious assault ship, and an aircraft carrier all rolled into one. Compare that to a US supercarrier like the Nimitz or Ford-class. Those costs skyrocket to $13 billion. That's over 10 times the price of the Anadolu. And that's before you even buy the multi-million-dollar fighter jets to put on it. An F-35 costs around $80 to $100 million. A Bayraktar TB3 a fraction of that. The TCG Anadolu uses domestically produced drones, which are significantly cheaper to replace, and you don't risk the lives of highly trained pilots. This is a smart choice model, perfect for middle power nations that want to project power but don't have the unlimited budget of a superpower. Countries like Brazil, South Korea, and even Japan are definitely watching this model very closely as they look to upgrade their own helicopter carriers. So, what does the story of the TCG Anadolu tell us? It tells us that in the world of military tech, flexibility is key. Turkey proved that when one door closes, the F-35 ban, if you have creativity and your own technology, you can open a new door that might be even bigger. The TCG Anadolu might not be the most powerful ship in the world when compared head-to-head with a US supercarrier. It lacks the nuclear power and the raw tonnage, but it is ahead of the curve in terms of combat concepts. Deploying mass drone operations at sea, swarm tactics, is something many nations will study and replicate. We are leaving the era where only a few nations could afford carriers. The drone carrier democratizes naval air power. We might see a future where drone carrier strike groups become the standard for regional navies. What about you guys? Do you think drone carriers like this will replace traditional aircraft carriers, or are they just a budget alternative for smaller nations? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one of them. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for Pacific Steel so you never miss an update. For today, I'm Mick, signing off. I'll see you in the next video.